In a world that tells you to follow your feelings, Rama shows us the power of following your principles. What if the secret to modern well-being isn't finding yourself, but disciplining yourself? We live in an era of mood-driven lives, where our actions are often dictated by how we feel in the moment. But Lord Rama, the man of dignity, offers a different path. He is the supreme man of boundaries and limits, showing us that true freedom comes not from the absence of rules, but from the mastery of them. While our current digital landscape is a chaotic storm of notifications and noise, Rama represents an ancient calm, a state where internal principles outweigh external pressure. This is the Dignity Manual, a strategy for modern survival that shifts the focus from what we want to how we conduct ourselves with integrity.
The first pillar of this discipline is commitment over convenience. We often think of discipline as a punishment, but for Rama, it was his greatest strength. Imagine the moment he was told he would not be king, but in exile for 14 years. He accepted this without a hint of resentment, because his word, his satya, was more valuable than any throne. Discipline is not about doing what you like. It is about doing what you said you would do, even when the initial motivation has evaporated. In 2026, this applies to every goal we set, from our careers to our health. When the feeling to work hard disappears, your commitment to your internal code is what keeps you moving. Rama teaches us that a promise, once made, must be kept at any life sacrifice, turning consistency into a modern power move.
Beyond our actions lies the second pillar, the emotional fortress. In our search for success or happiness, we often encounter personal storms that threaten to break us. When Rama searched for Sita, he faced immense grief, yet he remained composed, focusing on the mission without letting his feelings drive the car. This is the practice of samatvam, or equanimity, staying steady whether you are facing a coronation or an exile. Emotional discipline does not mean you have no feelings. It means you have developed the mental composure to navigate adversity with patience and strength. For anyone struggling with anxiety or the pressures of a high-stakes environment, Rama's example is a guide for staying grounded while the world around you is in chaos. This brings us to the third pillar, the modern Laxman Rekha. We traditionally view boundaries as a cage, but in Rama's philosophy, they are a shield. Just as the Laxman Rekha was meant to protect, we must set boundaries for our own attention and peace in a world designed to distract us. Restraint is a power tool. Being a man of limits means knowing when to say no to the outside noise to protect the sacred space of your own mind. By establishing a digital Laxman Rekha, a dedicated time or space where no outside noise is allowed, you reclaim your focus and your life. This restraint is not a limitation of your power, but the very source of it. The lessons from Lord Rama. What made Rama different was not just his strength or his role as a king. It was something far more subtle and far more powerful. It was his humility. Even at the peak of power, Rama never allowed his position to define his behavior. He did not see people through the lens of status, wealth, or importance. He saw them as human beings. When a simple boatman stood before him, Rama did not command, he requested. When Shabari, an old devotee, offered him berries she had tasted first, he did not reject them in pride. He accepted them with gratitude. Think about that for a moment.
In a world where people measure respect based on hierarchy, Rama dissolved hierarchy through humility. And that is not weakness. That is control over ego. Because true strength is not in proving superiority. It is in remaining grounded when you have every reason not to be. Now bring this into your life. How often do you react based on ego? How often do you feel the need to assert, to dominate, to prove yourself right? Rama shows a different path. A path where influence is not forced, it is earned. A path where respect is not demanded, it is naturally given. And from that humility comes something even more powerful: discipline. Rama's life was not driven by moods, it was driven by principles. When he was exiled, he did not resist, not because he was weak, but because he understood something deeper, that chaos outside
Now, the question is not whether Rama's life was great. The question is, what do you do with it? Because knowledge without application changes nothing. Right now, there is an area in your life where things feel off. Maybe it's your work, maybe it's your relationships, maybe it's your own inner voice. Somewhere, a boundary has been crossed. Somewhere, you have allowed confusion to replace clarity. And this is where transformation begins, not by changing everything overnight, but by returning to alignment. Starting with humility. The next time your ego rises, pause. Choose understanding over reaction. Choose respect over dominance. Then bring in discipline. Do what you know is right, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. And finally, redraw your boundaries. Decide what truly matters. Decide what you will protect, and have the courage to stand by it. Because the truth is, you don't need to control the world. You need to stabilize yourself within it. That is how Rama lived. And that is why his life still echoes across time, not as a story of the past, but as a guide for the present. A guide for anyone who feels lost in the noise of modern life. A guide for anyone who wants to live with strength, without losing softness, with clarity, without losing compassion.
So take a moment. Look at your life honestly. Where has your Laxman Rekha faded? And more importantly, are you ready to draw it again? Rama's discipline is a superpower because it makes you unshakable. It is the victory of Dharma over the shifting sands of modern moods. By choosing principles over feelings and boundaries over chaos, you don't just survive the challenges of the modern world, you navigate them with grace and dignity. Our actions and choices shape the legacy we leave behind, and by internalizing these lessons, we contribute to a brighter, more harmonious world. In which area of your life do you feel your Laxman Rekha has been crossed?
And more importantly, are you ready to redraw those boundaries again? Not just in your life, but within yourself. Because this isn't just a story about Rama. It's a question about you. So tell me honestly, where in your life has your Laxman Rekha been crossed? And what is one boundary you know you need to redraw, starting today? Share your thoughts below. I'm reading every response. And let's begin that conversation together. Before you go, pause for a moment and ask yourself,
What is the one thing you will focus on to make your life truly meaningful? Not everything, just one. Share it in the comments below, because putting it into words is the first step toward living it. And if you want to go deeper into the philosophies of Rama and Krishna, the pillars of strength, dignity, and mindset, watch the next video on the right and continue this journey.